Hey everyone, my name is Danilo Petrovic.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Denis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you're listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. Here we are, finally. We have made it to the draw of the Australian Open. This one is going to be the men's draw reaction. It happened overnight. This is our lunch break. We're going to be giving you our thoughts on this first look at the draw, which was delayed for an hour. And everyone was saying, "Whoa, what's going on? Oh, is Djokovic going to be in it?" He is in the draw, let me tell you. But we still don't know what's going to be his eventual, verdict on his decision, whether he'll be playing yet. We'll find that out hopefully in the next 24 hours, maybe 48 hours. Who knows?
Yeah, that is the big news, really. We had the delay, and then Djokovic is 100% included in the draw. It doesn't mean he's going to necessarily play. We're still waiting on that verdict. We'll be doing a Djokovic update later, no doubt. And that reminds me, Ben, you may want to bring up the tweet as well after we've finished some of our picks, just talking about the eventuality. If Djokovic isn't to be in the draw, what would happen with the seeds? I know you did have one. I think that's quite a good one to add.
Yeah. I saw that on there earlier. Yeah, it was quite interesting as well. I think that there's a lot of shifting around that happens if he isn't to play. So all of these potential routes to the final that we're going to have a look at, subject to change. Let's have that afterwards. A bit of SBC.
Yeah,
right?
And not
STC.
just that.
Sorry.
Whatever way you want to
whatever.
It doesn't really matter this video too much in terms of picks because we're just having an initial look. This is our instant reaction to the draw because we missed it throughout the night. I've not really had a good look. Ben's not had a good look. We've got enough tweets together and the draw itself. So let's get straight into it. Hopefully you enjoy. Just shout out to everyone who's joined us. Great to see so many people in the live chat. This is our lunch break. We'll be doing another one later for the women's. Shout out to Losme for the super chat saying, this whole Novak saga reminds me of the movie Now You See Me. Just one big illusion building up to the grand finale. I think that's a good tweet to start with.
And what is it? Is it going to be like a Houdini and he just disappears out of Australia? Or is it going to be he wins the Australian Open? What's going to be the big finale? We'll wait and see on that one. That'll be coming hopefully later on. Fingers crossed. We need an end to this.
So let's start with him, Novak Djokovic. And as we're saying, he is going to be the number one seed if he plays, head in the draw. And he's been drawn against fellow Serbian Miomir Kecmanovic. What's the chances of that? Two Serbs battling it out.
Well, very interesting, isn't it? Two Serbs, two different stances on how they've arrived in Australia. But I'm sure Novak will probably like that draw, to be honest. Probably played against him many, many times in training. Probably knows him inside out. And I'm not sure Kecmanovic is the type of guy who's really going to test him on if he's on his best. But this is a Djokovic who hasn't been training fully. He's still trying to get in the swing of it. Still trying to get that, match practice in. He's not going to be able to until he gets on the court, though.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just laughing. We've got to say no to the poison vaccine in. He's saying, sorry, guys, I missed my 68th booster dose. Hold on, I'll be right back. I shouldn't laugh, but I do find that quite funny. And also shout out to George McCauley. Great that he's joined the Patreon and the membership. He's back with a bang and hoping Rafa can do well. We know he's a big Rafa fan. Great to have you on board, the GTL family again.
Yeah, great to have you back, mate.
But looking at this, Djokovic... Listen, we're looking down these lists. Obviously, the seeded players are highlighted in bold, so they sort of stand out. Berrettini, the one right at the bottom, I don't think he's... If Djokovic could have picked any seed, I think he would love Berrettini. As a seventh seed, it's a good one to have. I don't think there's any chance Berrettini beats Djokovic anytime soon. He doesn't have a backhand, let's be honest. Berrettini, big server, but Djokovic, tactically, can beat him at 40%. I'm honestly going to go that far. I don't see it as an exciting matchup. At Wimbledon, Berrettini was able to get a set purely because of his big serving. But over the course of a best of three match, could be 5 sets, it's not going to happen. It really, best of 5 set, sorry. It's not going to happen for him. So Novak Djokovic will be rubbing his hands together, knowing he's got Berrettini there. Alcaraz, though, he's one who I'm hoping could cause a few issues if he's to meet Djokovic.
Well, this is that's the big name sort of in this section that I like. It's sort of like hovering around in the middle there.
Gene there's calls him the dangerous floater. I don't know if you can see the screen.
Don't know if he wants that nickname. God, horrible. Cheers anyway, Gene. I was going to say with Berrettini though, if we look back, I think you're right. The only person he seems to lose to in slams is Novak Djokovic. So in his last two, he got knocked out. Obviously, he got knocked out of wasn't it? He got knocked out of the Wimbledon, obviously in the final. He got knocked out of Roland Garros, obviously. He always does all right and grabs a set, but that's never enough. But Alcaraz, exciting, new breed of talent. He's going to be in there. Reached the quarterfinals in his last Grand Slam appearance. Now he's knocking on the door of the top 30. Could easily break inside the top 30, if I'm honest, after this tournament. Super excited for him.
Yeah, the other one I wanted to talk about is right at the top, Lorenzo Sonego. He would play Djokovic a bit sooner.
Yes.
He, for me, is someone Djokovic would have wanted to avoid, considering he beat him that time towards the end of the year. And I remember they had a really good matchup as well. I believe it was it Rome? I think in Rome. So. They had an epic battle on court, one of my favourite matches of that year. In fact, Djokovic managed to come through it. But Sonego really pushed him. And I feel like he has a good matchup against Djokovic. But really, we're looking at this, and Djokovic's draw is not too challenging, if I'm being entirely honest. Cam Norrie there in the middle. He's got a tough start, very tough, against Sebastian Korda. Let's see how Korda deals with sort of recovering from COVID. I know he's been in his hotel room in isolating for quite a while. So hopefully he's going to be pretty fit. You got Mutet there, who's playing great. Talon Griekspoor as well. So there is some. Listen, there's never an easy draw in slams. I know everyone's always talking on Twitter, and I see, oh, that's an easy draw. That's a really hard draw. All of these players are the very best tennis players, and they're all capable of causing some kind of upset if they're on their top game. And sort of the players I look at are the ones who are unseeded. I always say the same thing, but the names there who aren't bold, if you see any of them who are real sort of bracket killers, then you know you've got a really tough draw. And you've got here a few of them. Korda, I would say, is one. Martin Fucsovic is another. Listen, in his day, Query, but I'm not so sure about that now. And I think Griekspoor as well, or Mutet. They're the ones I want to identify. And also Nakashima at the bottom. Definitely.
I'd agree with all of those.
Yeah, we've got Sprang Break there saying Griekspoor is going to be the Botic van der Zandschulp of the tournament.
Hope so. Yeah. Another Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman, wasn't that his name in the other one? What are we going to have for Griekspoor?
Well, that name's taken, so
I know. Have to have a different one. Maybe he'll just be get a different one. Doesn't have to be have Dutchman. Just yeah, who knows? Do you want to have a look at the next tweet? Will show this is Djokovic's. We want to say thanks to Ollie Patone, who has sent in these for us. The routes to the final potentially for the big players in the tournament. So this one will be Novak Djokovic's Australian Open draw. As you can see there, we've already touched on. I think the first couple of rounds should be pretty okay. Sonego might give him a little bit of a test. Garin or Monfils, I think he does all right against them. But Monfils just won a tournament. Never
Monfils, no offense, I don't think he's going to beat Djokovic now. He's had however many attempts at it.
True.
And it's not going to happen right now with everything what's happened. So for me, I'm looking at this, and I think generally, without being offensive to any of these opponents, I think the third round is probably tough, one of his tougher matches until the semi-final. I generally think Sonego will cause more issues to Djokovic than Berrettini. Unpopular, it may be. That's just what I've seen based off their recent matches they've played. So I think Djokovic has a really good path to get to the semis, where he could meet Zverev on the Dow. And of course, they're always going to be tough. Semis and finals is going to be a real battle, especially if he has to play Medvedev again.
Definitely. Obviously, that's the first one. There's a few other names we haven't really touched at all. Carlenio Busta, he's obviously somebody, if he does play well, he can be considered. But other than that, I think we touched on all the other ones. Let's move on to the next section, which is below, we'll call this the Zverev section. And you can
Well,
see...
you're going to call it the Zverev section. I'd call it the Rafael Nadal section, but...
Yeah, well, he is there. He's down there. Well, who knows if Djokovic pulls out the tournament
Zverev
or...
section.
Well, if he ends up out the tournament, these could all move around, and we might have to do another draw reaction to the new draw. Who knows? So we see in there, obviously, Zverev playing fellow German Daniel Altmaier in the first round. And I think at one of the last tournaments, he played a fellow German, played Otte, didn't he, in the first round? So
struggled.
Yeah, 2 sets down and had to come all the way back. They've got Lloyd Harris in this section, Riley Opelka, some big serving section. This one's Shapovalov, Hurkacz, all the big servers, it seems, are being tucked in. And there's the man, the 2 Russians there, Karatsev and Khachanov down the bottom section. And they will be in that little Nadal section down there. And Nadal up against Marcos Giron in the first round, an American. I think that's quite an all right first round draw for Nadal. I expect him to get it done, but potentially Thanasi Kokkinakis in the second round. If he gets through his qualifier, who he has to play, I think that could be a real great match. Australian versus Nadal in the second round. Crowd will be rocking.
Listen, let's tackle the big issue here, which everyone's talking about, and that is Rafael Nadal, dubbed as one of the hardest draws in a slam for one of the big threes in however many years.
Yes.
Whether you agree or not, the rankings do suggest that. I don't know if you want to bring up the tweet where I had that. I think it's the big three one.
This one down there?
No, the one to the left.
The one to the left. Apologies. Yep, that's it.
So here we go. Nadal has the potential to face 4 players ranked inside the top 10. The big three have won 60 Grand Slams. In only 1 out of 60 of these titles, did one of them beat 4 players ranked inside the top 10 in the same tournament. And that was Federer in 2017 at the Australian Open. And you can see there the matches Federer won.
Yeah. I'll just click it so we can see it. Oh.
So you can see there it was Rafael, we'll start from the bottom. Berdych, Nishikori, Stan Wawrinka, and Nadal. So they were 10th, 5th, 4th, and 9th in the world. And listen, that is a ridiculously tough draw. Of course, Berdych, someone we had on the podcast not too long ago, which is great.
5 sets 3 times as well.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy. What a run. Well deserved to win the whole thing, obviously, after you've done all of that. That's incredible.
If you go back to the tweet, you can see Nadal here. Has the potential. At the top, has the potential to face 4 players ranked inside the top 10. So he was going to be going for the same thing. So it is pretty tough. I just wanted to show that for you. It's quite a cool little statistic. And yeah, he's got Hurkacz there, Shapovalov, Khachanov, of course, Karatsev. Karatsev, we need to talk about him. He's playing very well at the moment, trying to get into a final in Sydney. He's got a lot of points to defend here. There's a lot of stake for Aslan Karatsev at the Australian Open. He needs to get to the semi-finals without to not drop off any points. Can he do it for a start? And is Rafa worried about Aslan?
It's the match that we've been wanting to see for ages. Remember, all last year we were like, they're going to meet surely this time. And then Karatsev kept getting knocked out of the tournaments. We never got to see it. Maybe now we get to see it on Aslan's stomping ground, the Australian Open, semi-finalist from last year, the surprise package. Now everybody knows about him. And I like his chances in the first, I'd say even the first couple of rounds. And then round 3 is when I think it really starts getting a bit trickier for him. And then, obviously, the 4th round could be the Nadal matchup. Which shall I bring up the Nadal route?
Just before you do, sorry, I just want to talk about some more of this. So a lot of these unseeded players, I'm looking down, and this is what people are sleeping on, I think. I'm not sure. This could be a bit unpopular. I think these unseeded players are easier than the one on the Djokovic side. And that's why maybe everyone needs to stay calm a little bit. And like I said at the start of the video, you're never going to get an easy draw at a slam. And I'm not sure if the rankings right now is sort of the best reflection of where players are at, especially with all of these sort of frozen points and stuff. It's not a real reflection, I believe. So on that basis, maybe everyone's overstating the difficulty of Rafael Nadal's draw. And listen, I know it is tough on paper, but I generally believe he can do something and surprise some people.
I do. I'm
not as disencouraged by other people.
I think it can definitely happen. He could definitely get through all of those players. If he's not got injury, he can definitely do it. And if he picks up a win, gets some confidence, gets match like fitness as well at the same time, he might be growing in confidence as the tournament goes on. So there's nothing to say he won't.
Would you agree that the unseeded players here are less dangerous than the Djokovic side?
I'd have to look back at the other one just to do a quick comparison, if you don't mind. Yeah, we got Tommy Paul, Sebastian Korda. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I'd still say there's some good ones. Holger Rune there.
Of course, yeah.
We've obviously got Dominic Koepfer, Kevin Anderson, another good one. I'll go down, and I think I'd even say Peter Giovcek after his performance at the last one. He's one to watch. Maybe Kokonakis in Australia as well. A lot of people actually rate him quite highly.
Yeah, it's just the seeded players. I think Brandon was saying it in the chat. You've got to watch out for them. Yeah, the seeded players here are more dangerous. Definitely agree with that. But let's hope he can do something special. Then the big talking point really from this is, as Matchpoint Canada's saying, I like his first week in some sense, but Nadal is going to have a heck of a time getting past Zverev in a quarterfinal. Yeah, that's where they would meet. Now, you need to remember, Nadal would have to get past Zverev in a quarterfinal.
Unless Djokovic is not in the tournament, then it may all change around. It's all subject to change. So at the moment he would, and that's a horrible quarterfinal for Rafa. Can he get those serves back? I mean, I think he'd have to face a stuttering double faulting Zverev for Zverev to go out to Nadal, if I'm honest. That's my personal opinion.
Fair enough. We've got Jamie here. Cheers for the super chat.
Cheers,
saying,
mate.
my biggest worry for Nadal is if he plays someone like Djokovic on the semis, he could be totally burned out with the potential time on court to beat Novak. That's a really good point as well. Nadal could well beat some of these players, but he may do it in difficult style, being on court for a lot of hours, some 5-setters, 4-setters. Like, you can't see if Nadal is by some miracle able to beat Zverev, it's not going to be in straight sets, is it?
This is what I was saying to you about. Man, this is.
And probably Djokovic is get to the semis in straight sets, and he's going to be fresh as a daisy.
You say that, but you saw what happened when he didn't have any practice for the US Open. He was dropping the odd set, and that ultimately ended up to him being tired by the time he got to the final. Obviously, the big 5-setter with Zverev as well. But I was saying it at the end of last year. I think Rafael Nadal, to go deep in Grand Slams, has to win straight sets as many times as possible. I don't see him going deep if he's dropping 2 or even going to 4 in a lot of these matches. He needs quick matches and not much time on court. Otherwise, I don't give him much of a chance.
Okay, let's move on to the Oliver Patone tweets.
Yes.
Shout out to him again. And Zverev here, he's got a first round of Altmaier on paper, Millman or Feliciano Lopez, Harris or Nishioka in the third round, Shapo or Opelka in the fourth, Nadal, Khachanov or Hurkacz in the quarterfinal, semi-final of Djokovic or Berrettini, and of course the final against Medvedev or Tsitsipas.
Yeah, I mean, I like it all the way up to even including the quarterfinal, I think, and then just the semi-final. It starts to get similar to the US Open, to be honest.
I would say this is tough. This does look tough, and I think you're sort of skimming over Harris. Lloyd Harris, if he comes into it and he's playing well, he could be a real tricky customer for Zverev.
I think you're underestimating Zverev massively. I think Zverev, the back end of last year, you see how much that he has improved, and on his mental side of his game, I just think that these players are there for the taking. If he turns up, great recovery skills, great serving. I think a lot of these players are lucky to get a set off him.
Nice. So we move on to Rafa. I'll let you read out.
Yeah, Rafa's one. Here we go. This one, a lot of people have been talking about online. Giron first round, possibly Kokonakis in the second round, Khachanov third round, or Hurkacz or Karatsev in the fourth round. I mean, that one for me is very tough. That depending on either opponent, if they're playing well, that's really tough. And then the quarterfinal, obviously, we just spoke about that. That's going to be it'll be an epic match, but it'll be real tough. And then if he gets to the semis, we've got Djokovic or Berrettini, final Medvedev or Tsitsipas.
Yeah, no, this is tough. This is really hard. he's going to have to do it the hard way, Rafa. Unless the only thing I can possibly think of is, say, some of these big seeds fall early. Like, I generally believe Karatsev will beat Hurkacz. That's maybe an unpopular one. I think that could happen.
I hope so.
Khachanov can certainly have a bit of a funny day. He could be sort of a first round loss as a big shock surprise. And I think Rafa's going to need a few handouts and a few favours in order to get far.
Horrible.
Just being honest. Listen, I'm a big Rafa fan, but I'm a realist, and he's not at the level of some of these guys. So it's going to be tough. We've got Gerald there saying big upsets are waiting, guys. Of course, we know every slam there's always some upsets. So I'm hoping for Nadal's sake some happen in his side.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we move on to the next section of the draw? This one will be known as the Tsitsipas section. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are sort of, if you're a Tsitsipas fan, probably a bit worried to know which one that you're going to get to see. I'm a big fan of Stefanos Tsitsipas, especially when he's playing his best tennis. I'm hoping he really finds his form this year and we get to see Tsitsipas like really challenge your Medvedev and your Djokovic's in these tournaments. I really want to see it. I want a breakout year for Stefanos this year. He can do it. We know he can. He was close to winning a slam. This year could be his year.
He's coming into the Australian Open not in great form after the ATP Cup. A lot of people aren't talking about him to go far this event, and I have to agree with that. I look at this draw and I think Tsitsipas on the form he's been on, and where his head's at the moment, I think he's going to really struggle. Probably not going to make it out the first week.
It's going to be real tough. I'm not under any illusions here. He obviously had that injury as well. He pulled out, didn't he, of the tour finals. Yeah. I'm fingers crossed he can recover whilst it's going on. I don't know if that's really possible. He just needs short matches as well. I think the same thing I said for Rafa goes exactly the same here for Tsitsipas. Needs straight set victories for me. I don't want to see him going to 5 sets in the first 2 matches of the tournament like he did against Murray. Obviously, he had that Alcaraz match as well. Just not good for longevity in this tournament.
Yeah. And a new thing as well what's come in this year, it's obviously the toilet break rule. You've got King here saying you don't win slams taking bathroom breaks. Well, the rule's been changed. So this is going to be Tsitsipas' first slam with the new rule in place. So let's see how he handles that.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. I think more it's going to be his injury and how he's able to play and how he's feeling in his body. Looking at the seeds, Taylor Fritz, watch out for him. We've got Grigor Dimitrov there, Yannick Sinner, of course. We're expecting big things from him this year. We both have him really high in our top 10, and we both spoke about the fact that he could come very close to a slam this year. Who's to say Australian Open isn't one because he's brilliant on the hard courts.
Great draw for him, I personally think.
Batista Agut there. We know he's just, you know what you're going to get with him. Mr. Consistent, going to get the ball back and just wear you down. So that's difficult for everyone. And he starts the year so well. I think he's got a great record already from the ATP Cup going into the start of this year, like every other year he starts. And Casper Ruud at the top.
Yeah, Casper Ruud, someone probably no one's talking about. Obviously, their 8th seed in the tournament. I bet he didn't see himself being there at the start of last year. But he is there, and I don't mind his draw, to be honest. I think it's sort of between him and Sinner have got like a sort of collision course, so to speak. And I would love to see it if those two manage to get through. Obviously, we've got Andy Murray, who's tucked in there against Bashashvili again. How many times are these two going to meet? Like Murray comes back to tour. He only has to play one person, it seems, all the time.
It's essentially always Bashashvili.
What does Bashashvili think about it as well? He'd probably have an all right chance. He's got a former Grand Slam champion as a wild card every time he comes into a slam.
I remember that time it was it 5? Was it in Wimbledon? Murray was 5-love up and he lost 7-5. So these two have a good rivalry. It's going to be a tough match, but Murray has just beaten him. And also, I stand corrected. Apologies, Amino there saying the slams aren't using the new rules, and I think that is right. I've seen some people agree. So they're going to be the old rules of the toilet break. So maybe Tsitsipas is going to be all right after all.
I like this comment from Jamie. This comment, does Bashashvili have some sort of magnetic force? Because ever since Murray got that metal hip, it keeps drawing him in. That's a good one, Jamie. Cheers for the super chat, bud. Yeah, quite possibly. Maybe he has a magnetic hip and Murray's got a metal one. They're just going to be joined at the hip for the rest of their careers. Here
You
we
got
go.
Benoit Paire there, Ben, as an
Uh,
unseeded player. Is it
I
his
don't.
moment to shine in the slam?
I don't know, mate. He got bageled in his last match, so I'm not even going to talk about him too much. Taylor Fritz, on the other hand, someone we should talk about. He's got, I'd say, quite a nice draw. I like it. You've got Dimitrov there, and the fact that Tsitsipas is obviously we're not sure on his injury or not. This section for Fritz, he's probably looking at it thinking, I've got a real chance here to get to a quarter-final potentially.
Yeah, definitely. Let's have a little look at the routes.
Yeah, sure. So this one is Tsitsipas's route. He would be playing Mikael Ymer. Then second round, you'd think he'd get through Ymer and possibly Ramos and Baez, or potentially Baez. Dimitrov, if he makes it through. And then you've got RBA, Fritz, or TFO. So one of those three, all tough matchups. Obviously, probably wouldn't want to play TFO again after the last time. He seems to be a real bogey player for him.
Yeah.
And then Ruud or Sinner in a quarter-final. And then you're looking at semi-final Rublev, Medvedev. You're talking. Or Felix has been added in here. That's a bit interesting.
Felix in the
yeah, I
semi.
know. Ollie's added in Felix in that one. Expecting big things from him this year. He's got a tough first-round match, Felix. So he's playing Emil Rusevori, and we know how good he is. So do not write off Rusevori.
We've got David Barton in the chat asking to pull up the Benoit Paire route to the Australian Open title. Unfortunately, Ollie didn't prepare a Benoit Paire one, so we don't have it.
Come on, man.
Not that we wanted to read it out anyway, because it probably would have said round one and then out.
Who's he playing anyway? I didn't even have a look. That's he's playing. Oh, Montero. I'll probably be cheering on Montero there, to be fair. I like Montero. Okay. No offense, Benoit.
So let's move on to the next section.
Next section is this one is the Daniil Medvedev section.
Or the Russian section.
Double
Russians, top and bottom. Andrei Rublev, Daniil Medvedev. Are they going to meet then in the quarters?
It looks like a collision course. It's either that or, like Ollie's alluding to, maybe Felix. Felix will be very happy that with this draw, I have to think, looking at it. Dan Evans, potentially, although he's doing the same as he did last year. He's going deep in a tournament, literally the week before the Australian Open. Last year, obviously, he won the tournament the day before he had to start playing. And then he went out in the first round. So,
yeah,
you've got Botic van der Zandschulp down the bottom there. The Flying Dutchman. Is he going to be flying again in Australia, do you think?
Yeah, why not? Why not? He's a good player. I do like him, but my eyes are drawn to the bottom, actually. Let's start there first. Nick Kyrgios playing a qualifier first. Obviously, we're not sure if Nick's going to be at the Australian Open. He's currently quarantining because he's got COVID. Another Aussie who's got it. Of course, we've got Bernard Tomic as well, pulled out of the Australian Open with getting COVID. But Kyrgios here, it's still in the balance. I'm not sure if he's going to play. He could still withdraw. But if he doesn't, we could be talking about a Daniil Medvedev, Nick Kyrgios sort of second round.
I like it. I mean, that's the one everyone's talking about, isn't it? If he actually comes to the tournament, gets through that first round versus a qualifier, that stadium will be crazy. We saw what it was like versus Dominic Thiem. Well, Daniil Medvedev, he likes to play up to the crowd, as we know. And those two are like the meme lords, I think, online, and both like to go back and forth with some funny banter. I think that one, if we get it, guaranteed watch along, JG?
Yep. I think Ugo Umber down there, Medvedev's going to be really worried about that. He's another player who can easily beat Medvedev. I'm going to stand by that because Umber, when he turns up, is one of the best. Just a little inconsistent. You got Diego Schwartzman started the year quite well, Felix, and a lot of qualifiers at the top. So I'm thinking if you're looking at it from Andrei Rublev's perspective, he should be okay until he meets Marin Cilic or something.
I actually like this, and I know I've said it last year, and I'm probably going to ruin it again. I actually really like the draw for Dan Evans. Dan Evans has actually got a nice draw there. If he actually is to... David Goffin, bear in mind, pulled out of the last tournament against Murray. I think it's with injury as well. So he may be replaced. He may play and then pull out again. You don't know. Then in the next round, beatable person. Round 3, possibly Felix. You never know on his day. He can come accustomed to a bit of a dodgy result. And then Rublev, if he comes up to play Rublev, Evans, he actually does quite well against Rublev, Dan Evans. So it's not like the worst draw. Cilic in there, we've not mentioned yet. And I know that you're someone who likes to put Cilic through a few rounds in these slams.
I'm going to give it away. I think Cilic is going to beat Rublev. I know we're not doing our picks now. Make sure to join us, by the way. We'll be doing our picks in the coming days where we go through every single match, giving our whole predictions. You'll see us get all the way to the semi-final, final and beyond and give our dark horses and champions for this year's Australian Open. And I can announce now live on the podcast to download the tennis app. If you want to enter, you can do it by going through the giveaway. You get an entry to the giveaway as well to win 2 Roland Garros tickets. And we will be giving away prizes for the winner of the men's and women's Australian Open. And we've got some good prizes to give away this time as well.
Yeah, we really do. Yeah, you just wait and see what they are. Very exciting prizes on a GTL. But yeah, definitely make sure you enter via the giveaway because that will give you an extra entry into the draw. Sign up to the tennis app through that. Any of the players in non-bold, say the non-seededs that really jump out at you here?
Yeah, Van der Zandschulp, you've mentioned. Rusevori, we've seen him play against Rafa very recently and looked really impressive. There's no easy match for Felix. No. And Rinderknecht is the other one I wanted to sort of point out. And, of course, Cressy. So there's a few. Yeah, Hugo Gaston as well. I feel like we should give him a shout-out.
Yeah,
I know it's not in Paris this time. He usually only plays well in Paris, but he's a young player, exciting one.
Definitely. Well, let's have a look at Medvedev's draw through. It's Laxonen, obviously friend of the podcast, been on a couple of times as a guest. Last time we had him on was when he was quarantining for last year's Australian Open. Laxonen's good in a slam, but I think Medvedev might be too much for him. Kyrgios, Humbert or Van der Zandschulp in round 3. Isner, Cressy or Schwartzman in round 4. And maybe Felix or Rublev in the quarterfinals. I mean, all of these people, we know how good Medvedev does against big serving players. And all of these people, he's sort of got like Van der Zandschulp is big serving, Kyrgios big serving, Isner or Cressy big serving. I think that Felix big serving. I think all of these people he sort of does well against. So there's not a bad draw for Daniel Medvedev. All of the other ones are all at the top.
Am I not mistaken that in the US Open, the only person he dropped a set to was Van der Zandschulp? Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Well spotted. So if Botic gets there, then it could be a nice little rematch of that one because he's getting better all the time, the Flying Dutchman.
And round 4 could be a popcorn match as well. Medvedev, Schwartzman. Both of them don't like each other, but Medvedev always seems to batter him, unfortunately.
I know. It's a bit... I don't know if Schwartzman has the firepower for these hard courts to mix it with the likes of people like Medvedev, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I've noticed a little error there in the tweet. We've got Rublev twice in there, but apologies. That is only just quarter-final, of course.
Yeah, he is in his quarter. So semi-final Tsitsipas or final would be Djokovic, Zverev or Nadal. He's throwing him in there. He's expecting big things from the man from Spain. Right. Okay. Next we have we had that one. Apologies. Next one. So first round matches for the top 8 seeds. And there you go. That you can see that on the screen. We got Djokovic versus Kekmanovic, Medvedev versus Laxonen, Zverev versus Daniel Altmaier, Tsitsipas versus Mikhail Ymer. We've got Andrei Rublev versus Gianluca Mega, Nadal versus Marcos Giron, Berrettini versus Brandon Nakashima, and then Ruud versus Molcan there on the end, which do not rule out Molcan's actually pretty good. So there's probably people watching, if you're not an avid tennis fan and you're just thinking, who's Molcan? He actually had quite a good year last year. Did play well in Serbia. Ended up losing to Djokovic, I think, in the final in Serbia. So keep an eye on that.
What I want to ask you, Ben, is it never happens. The top 8 seeds never win and all go through. So which one of these, Ben, is going to fall on the first day?
Nadal, no, I'm trying. The one that I think that those are the potentials. I think the bottom 2 are potentials. Nakashima,
so you think Ruud could go out or Berrettini could go out in the first round?
They're the only 2 that really I think have a chance against the other 2. I think the other ones I'm pretty certain will get it done. Well, unless Tsitsipas is injured. I don't know. If it's the real Tsitsipas, no chance.
Yeah, we've got one of our I've just lost it now. One of our members there saying Molcan beats Rude, I think. So agreed. And we've also got another super chat in from KRC Gaming and our member. Shout out to you. Thanks for joining. Said Medvedev, or we call him in Serbian Medjed, because his name is Serbian, is Bear. Has a really difficult draw. Oh, interesting. Because we always call him Medi Bear.
Yeah.
Not sure why we called him that, but that's
like
probably
teddy
why.
bear, isn't it? Yeah. Well, there's a lot of contrasting views there because a lot of people say Medvedev's draw is very easy, and then there's other people saying that his draw is really difficult, which is interesting. It's just whichever way you want to chop it up, really. How do you see it being difficult? It's probably the same way as I see it being easy. You're probably thinking, oh, he's up against a lot of big servers. He might struggle. I think he does all right against them.
Yeah.
Don't know. Well,
And,
I've got...
But just quickly, Ben, before we finish and wrap this up, I know you've got the other tweet you want to talk about, but let's just talk about this, what I want to do. We are the game to love. We are the future of tennis. We love sort of bigging up some of the unseeded players. So let's go through all 4 sections of the draw and pick one unseeded player each and sort of a dark horse. Obviously, we're giving our official dark horses later on, but I just want one player from each of these sections who you have your eyes on, sort of a wild card pick to sort of surprise a few people.
Well,
doesn't have to be a young gun. It can be anyone unseeded.
Well, the one person, the guy who's on a 28 match winning streak at the moment, I think you've got to keep your eye out for him. It's Talon Griekspoor. I'll be keeping my eyes on him. He chose not to play Rafa in the last tournament, maintained his unbeaten record. Can he continue it at the Australian Open? I think that he can maybe cause some upsets.
Yeah, well, that was mine as well, but I'll go Brandon Nakashima to be a bit different because I agree with you. He could beat Berrettini.
Oh, the one I was going to go for, if I didn't say that one, was going to be Mutek, because I think he's been playing great so far in the previous tournaments.
You're not allowed to.
No, I'm banned. It's done. All right, okay. On to the next one.
So that means I've got Brandon Nakashima and you've got Griekspoor from the first.
Yeah, you go for it in this one. You go first.
Oh, you're giving me the one where there's not so many good ones. Great. We're just talking about how this one. Oh, no. There is a few. I'm going to go in this section. I'm going to have, of course, there's a qualifier there. We don't know who that's going to be. I'm going to go Holger Rune as my one, the number 45 in this event. We've seen what he's able to do against Djokovic in a slam. Played very well in that. And his draw's not too challenging. If you're being honest, it's always going to be tough in a Grand Slam, but there's some unbeatable opponents. So Holger Rune's my one to watch in this section.
I think my one would be Kokkinakis, just because if he gets past the qualifier, all eyes will be on him versus Nadal, and if he has the crowd behind him, could be in for an epic second round match versus Rafa.
Yeah, Armino there just pointing out, Rune has lost to Mutet twice in Adelaide. I think he's getting his losses out early, Armino. He's going to save his victories for the Grand Slam. All right. He's a big-time player, Rune.
Right, on to the next section. Who jumps out of this one? This one may be slightly tougher to pick than even the last one.
Is it? I think it's quite easy for me.
All right, go.
Am I allowed to go?
Yeah, you go if you know.
Andy Murray. Australian Open. We've seen some tweets from John as well talking about Murray's chances. He really fancies him because it could have been a lot tougher for him. I know he's got that really hard first round. Yes. But then he's got a bit of respite, potentially until he meets. Is Yannick Sinner there? Oh, no, Yannick Sinner's on the bottom bit, is it?
No, Yannick Sinner is in that bit. It would be round 3
so
for him.
It could be a Yannick Sinner, and that's where I think he could get stuck. But regardless, I'm going to be going Andy Murray. I've been impressed with him in a final at the moment in Sydney and playing some good tennis with his new racket. So,
I might surprise you. I'll go.
And Judy Murray as well. You see that? Judy Murray's buying tickets for any Scotsmans in the crowd.
Oh, that's very nice of her. Anyway, I'm going to go with Ivashka. He's up there at the top. If he manages to get past Andujar, then I reckon he could still possibly cause an upset, knocking out Rude. There's a lot of it's a nice little section up that top, and Ivashka could get a little run going. So keep an eye on him.
Nice. We're getting some good shouts in the live chat as well. RS, one of our members, talking to Zach there, our patron. I really fancy Suwoo Kwon to do well.
Yeah, which section was he in? I think he's in this one. Yeah, he's in the second section. Yeah, there he is. Just he's playing Holger Rune in that first match, though, so not an easy first match. Let's go to the last. Is it the last and final section now?
Yeah, you get to pick first on this one.
Oh, lucky me. On this one, there's got to remember there's qualifiers that we don't see in here. But
by the way, before you say it, I know what you would have picked last year. It's so obvious.
yeah, I know you
Right at the
probably do.
bottom.
What do you think?
Kyrgios. You definitely last year you would have picked Kyrgios.
Probably, yeah.
In Australia, didn't you have him the first ever podcast we did? Start of Australia.
I said it was my dark horse.
Yeah.
Dark horse to win it. Nick Kyrgios wins the Australian Open. I still remember hearing myself say it now. Terrible. I'm going to actually go Chris O'Connell.
Okay.
I like Chris. Me. Yeah, I keep an eye on Chris O'Connell. Does all right. He is an Australian as well, and he did bagel Rublev a couple of years ago at the Australian Open, so it should be noted.
For me, Van der Zandschulp, he's now got Grand Slam pedigree.
Yeah.
Brilliant hard quarter, and I think he's a really good character to have on tour, and I would like to see him do well. Nice.
Definitely would. Hopefully it comes on the pod at some point. Right, just move to the end. I know that we were talking about Andy Murray. So was John Silk. He was going up back and forth on Twitter. It said his victory over Basilashvili at Wimbledon last year was arguably one of his best performances in years. Bodes well, but you could do with avoiding 5 sets next week. The optimist in me says Murray can make the second week of a slam for the first time since 2017. Which, wouldn't that be something? That would be, I would love to see it. I mean, more than anybody, probably. If we get to see Andy Murray go deep in a Grand Slam, I'm going to be having the flag flying high for him, Sir Andy. And just one last tweet I just wanted to pop up, if possible. And this one's the one from Jose Morgado, who just was tweeting earlier on today, just regarding the all the spots move around, if Djokovic is to end up disappearing. So a lot of questions about this. If he gets deported after the draw, but before the first, what does that mean?
Not sure.
I don't know. I'm guessing before the first match is played, or I'm guessing the seeds move. Or seed 3 moves to his spot. Seed 5 moves to the seed 3 spot. Seed 9 moves to the seed 5 spot. Seed 13 moves to the seed 9 spot. Seed 17 moves to the seed 13 spot. Seed 25 moves to the 17 spot. 33 moves to 25, and then a lucky loser will be in the 33rd spot. God,
so in conclusion, we'll have to do another draw preview because it's all going to be messed up and there'll be no draw. But just like this whole Australian Open, it's been a mess from start to finish. So we're probably expecting to do a podcast later on. Djokovic gets deported and another draw preview because this one will be void.
Void. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, imagine that. But it is
order of play, by the way. OOP.
Oh, okay.
Cheers, G.
Yeah, there you go. I learn something new every day. I'll just call it the OOP. Right. Okay. So let's get rid of that. I think we've done a good job there, to be honest. I think we flew through that one. It was very, very exciting to see that. That's my first proper look at it as well. So that's a genuine reaction to the draw. We do have the giveaway that we do need to tell you about as well. If you want to join our members, there's a join button underneath this video next to the subscribe button. You can become a member, get special features on the channel like special emojis. You get premium Discord access to speak to myself and JG. But if you want some other perks, well, like 2 Roland Garros tickets, JG, then you enter our giveaway. And these ones are for 4 days at Roland Garros. Do not forget that. 4 days on Philippe Chatrier. Doesn't get better than that. JG, how do the people enter?
Yeah, it's free to enter, and the link's pinned in the live chat. Hit the link, take you to a link tree, and click enter giveaway. And there's so many other ways to do it from there. Here's the short promo.
This time we're bringing you a giveaway. Roland Garros 2022. We have 2 grand public tickets going on offer, and you can be part of it.
Make sure you are subscribed to Game to Love. And secondly, follow the link to find out all of the ways you can enter. They include following us on Spotify, following on Twitter, joining the Patreon. That's another one where you get a few entries.
4 days at Roland Garros. That could be the final, the semi-final, the quarter-final.
To clarify, that is 2 tickets for 4 days at Roland Garros seeing the very best tennis talent.
Yeah, so make sure that you get your entries in by the 31st of January 2022.
And good luck. May the best man or woman win. And hopefully we get to see you out in Paris very soon.
Oh, yeah, don't miss out on that, guys. You've got, I'm not sure, until the end of January. I'm not sure how many days are left now. 2 weeks, possibly.
Yep.
Yeah, do not miss out. But we're going to love you and leave you. And we'll see you later for the women's draw reaction. And that'll be coming up in about 3.5 hours' time.
Yeah, it'll be a similar format to the one we've just done here for the men's. And then, of course, we'll be doing the big draw reactions, more draw previews, giving our picks to win, semi-finalists, and, of course, the dark horses for the event. And you can win prizes on that podcast by entering the tennis bracket league in Game to Love. So good luck, everyone. Last thing left to say, thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe, and see you on the next one.
See you later, guys.